Okay, so we got it just where it's starting to cut. Go ahead and set it back into its shell holder here. And I'm just going to go like this so you see what I'm looking at. You'll feel it cut. Now I'm just going to bring this down another 2 thousandths. 1, 2, that'll do it. This should give us a nice cut. See, it's all about the first one is always the hardest because that's the one that everything else is going to be adjusted from. And moving down to 2 thousandths. And this ought to do it. Yeah. You'll feel it cut. This is a real sharp cutter. I've done thousands of cases with this, and it does not get dull. Do not try and neck turn the wolf or barn owl or silver bear steel cases. That will dull this thing. Nickel plated brass, no problem, but don't use this on steel cases. It'll dull your cutter quicker than trying to shave a brick with a razor. Alright, when you're doing this, make sure you push the cutter down. You know, I hold it like this, and make sure that you go back and forth until you are done cutting. Then you're going to have a case that looks like this. Now I'm going to do this next one on the drill. You saw how long it took with the hand cutter. Now we're going to do it with the power drill. Okay, I'm using the Lee shell holder for their neck trimmer, and I'm going to take the case that we measured that was too thick. I'm going to lock it in here. If it doesn't cut the case, don't worry about it. Don't adjust it case for case. If they're all weighing the same, they should all have about the same amount of material to take off the neck. Some will have more, some will have less. If you keep adjusting it, you're going to have different neck thicknesses and different bullet pulls on each round, and that's going to cause your groups to spread out. Warning, when you use a power drill, it is going to make this thing extremely hot from friction. Don't touch this if you can help it. If you do, you want to do it again. Okay, here we go. That one barely needed it. Let's move on to the next guy. Yeah, it's nice and warm. When you're running the drill, you want to bring the cutter in and out like this, and what it does, it makes a really glass smooth cut on there, and that's what you want. So it has a nice smooth finish, and it also reduces the friction inside the chamber when it fires. It doesn't have a bunch of ridges that's, you know, dragging across the chamber, and it makes it nicer when you resize it. So I'm going to show you the difference between the two up close. And the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do that one that we converted, because I want you to see how much material really comes off of that thing. Alright, here's the 308 we made from a 30-06. I expect him to be a lot thicker. He weighs a lot more. In fact, he weighs about 20 grains more than any of these other guys over here. So I expect a lot of material to come off of him. But if you just take off what you need, I didn't readjust this, but if you just take off just what you need to where with a bullet seated it slips into the chamber and locks, you're great, you're gold, because this will give you that custom cut chamber type fit that a lot of the bench rest shooters use. And when you have that kind of a fit, that bullet is going to be perfectly positioned to leave the rifle at exactly the right spot. Alright, we have before you the 3 cases we trimmed. This one here is the 30-06. This is one we turned by hand. This is the one that we turned on the drill. Now if you look real close, you can see that it's a little rougher on the outside than the ones that we used to drill. It's a lot rougher. I'm not sure if this camera can really get it as close as I would like. However, this is as smooth as it gets. Now the 30-06 was turned and you see how much thicker it was, and then looking at this guy here, you can see even though the whole neck wasn't turned, it's turned to the point where only the thickest parts of the neck were removed. You know that little stripe there, when these things come out of the machine, they're not perfect. Especially range brass, who knows what this thing was shot from. And so we have this. Now this is the same brass from the same lot that I picked up at the range from the same guy, and it turned about the same. But this was on the drill, and this one's done by hand. The drill's faster, it cuts smoother, and it saves you time. If you don't have a drill, do it by hand. Basically what you're doing is making a mini lathe for these guys, and you're lathe cutting the outside of them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to size them again, and then we're going to run them on the Case Master, see what kind of numbers we're coming up with compared to ones that have not been turned. Alright, let's see what we come up with. Here's one that has not been neck turned at all. Has some wiggle to it. Let's do one that we did the neck turning on, this guy. These have all been resized. Now for the 30-06 we converted. This is not going to shoot as well because this hasn't been fire formed yet. Once this is fire formed and fully length resized, once it takes the shape of the chamber, I guarantee you all this runout is going to be gone. But still, that's it. This is by any definition a near perfect case. That's neck turning.